Hi and welcome. So today I wanted to do a video, I think I'm going to title it My Thoughts on Thoth. And clever, huh? Yeah, I'm sure no one's thought of that. Anyway, so I'm new to Thoth. 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 However you want to pronounce it. I'll stick with Thoth. I'm new to Thoth. I think I got my deck a few months ago. The first one I got was the green boxed US Games, printed in Belgium. It's got an AGM copyright, but it's I'm pretty sure it's US Games. Printed in Belgium, US Games system. There we go, it's right there. And after I got this one, it's what I wanted to say. Like, I played with it quite a bit in terms of, like, holding it in my hand and this bed. Let's see what's coming in here. Okay. All right. So I played with it quite a bit, right? Just holding it in my hand, getting to know the images and whatever. And then I set this one aside when I received, because I was lucky enough to score a vintage greenie on eBay. So the one I scored did not come with a box, but it did come with the original guidebook, with the original blank card. The main reason. There's two reasons I wanted a greenie. One was the card backs without these garish white borders, which, seriously, U.S. Games, you could have made these without the white borders. They're also, it's, I don't know how to describe it, but all you had to do was bump up the size a little bit. Anyway, so I scored one of these, and these were used. I featured them in a video when I received them. They were advertised as used, although I don't find that they weren't really dirty when I received them, but I did my thing where I wiped each card individually and yada yada yada, and they feel very nice. This cardstock, of course, is like old cardstock from early 80s, right? And this is modern cardstock. And this one's a little sharp on the edges, on my little hands, but I'm thinking it has more to do with the fact that it's new, because I have a US Games Rider-Waite that has softened over the years. So this is because it's new. So here's the main difference. Ashpet, that's like dialect. If you're Italian, you're watching this, I apologize. All right. So you see what they did here is it's a squished image of this. Yeah. Anyway. So my thoughts on Thoth so far. So my first thoughts on Thoth, and I think I mentioned this in a video a while back, way back, but I'm going to mention it now because it is part of my thoughts on Thoth. Is that I wished, not I wished, but if I had been introduced to Thoth, back in the day, in the mid 80s, instead of Rider-Waite, I would have had a shorter learning curve with this system. One, because by then I was already very interested in astrology, and I was I'm not a professional astrologer, but astrology has held my interest for decades. So I understand the astrology references on these cards, and I think that would have helped. I just think that with my interest in astrology and my knowledge of cartomancy with playing cards, I would have learned these a lot quicker than Rider-Waite. Rider-Waite was a struggle. And also, I still remember the early days of learning Rider-Waite. And I had plaid back. And what I'm going to say, maybe there's people that will disagree with me, and that's fine. I'm open. I want to hear your opinions. These are a lot less creepy than Rider-Waite. I don't care who you are. These images, they don't have, the Ten of Swords the way we see it in Rider-Waite. The Judeo-Christian devil in the Rider-Waite cards, and when you come from a Roman Catholic background, requires that you work on your fear of that image because of your upbringing. What else? The tower in that in Rider-Waite I find to be a lot more dark. Well, because the card background is black. The devil card, the background is black. The black cards, the Ten of Swords, Nine of Swords. So that's my first thought on comparing. Like, I really wished that I had met this deck earlier on, or I'd met this deck before Rider-Waite. That was my first thought. This would have been a much shorter learning curve. Having said that, because I have been reading Rider-Waite since 1986, to put a date on it, I'm pretty sure it's 1986 that I bought my first Rider-Waite deck. And it took a lot of work to learn Rider-Waite. That now, and how rigid, right? And compared to Thoth, or even cartomancy, but Thoth, no, not maybe not cartomancy, but with playing cards. But with Thoth, from what I'm seeing, Rider-Waite Smith, because of some of those pictures that are iconic, they're limiting. So that's why I have a whole series, which I have to, still upload more videos on, my experiential meaning of the tarot cards, because a lot of my experiential meanings for the tarot cards stem from experience and have nothing to do with the picture, the scene depicted. So there's that. My next thought on Thoth is the Book of Thoth by Aleister Crowley. And I got mine used because why not? It's an interesting book. Is it did I require to buy a book to read first in order to read this? No. This is the first Thoth book I read. It's readable. It's not freaking, it doesn't require a guidebook to read this book. He's got some ideas that are far out there, but so does Jodorowsky, and I love Jodorowsky's book La Voix du Tarot and Psychomagic. So, and there's another one too that I have. But Jodorowsky is out there too. People that are out there are the ones that write these kind of books that are then become iconic. So no, I didn't feel like I needed to read someone else's book about how to read this book. So no, this is fine. So if you're interested in Thoth, get yourself a copy of this. This will tell you about the person who dreamed up this system. All right. Secondly, another thought on Thoth is that as much as I just went on and on about Rider-Waite being very difficult, there is a lot of crossover from Rider-Waite to the Thoth cards. But at the same time, like I said, I find, I'm pointing here because I have Rider-Waite beside me. But because they both derive from the Golden Dawn system. So, you know what I mean? Like I would say that they're two different people's point of view, Crowley and Waite's point of view or spin on Golden Dawn. I know that's very simplistic, but so am I. All right. My next thought on Thoth is that you could literally start with, okay, I'm not going to show the greenie because this is what's available. You could literally start with Thoth deck. And I do recommend the larger one. It's not easily available, but it's not easily available where I live. But I got mine on the book depository. If you want to support a metaphysical bookstore that is staying open for mail order, not staying open, like, not that their store is open, but that they're still selling to the public through the website, the Facebook page, what have you. If you want to support them, they can order this from US Games for you. Or if you live in America, I think you can just order directly from US Games. We in Canada cannot order directly from US Games. Okay. So where was I? Yes, you could literally start with a deck of these, and I do recommend the large ones because they're beautiful. They're beautiful, and I'm going to cover that last, this compared to the greenie. They're freaking beautiful. They're a beautiful, beautiful printing of this deck. And they're big enough that you could see everything in the card. And as far as I'm concerned, when I'm learning something new, I will, if I have the option between a standard size or a larger, I would go with the larger just because I could see the images better. Now this is the book that I got just to straight learn the interpretations of these cards. Interestingly enough, when I read this book for the meanings of this card, again, there's a lot of crossover. There's some crossover with Rider-Waite. There's some crossover with cartomancy. Like I said, the more I learn this system, the more I love Rider-Waite, don't get me wrong, but man, this would have been a lot easier to learn than Rider-Waite was. So if you're interested in getting into Thoth and you don't know where to start with a deck, and this book is really good because, well, you can read the book of Thoth, but that's not a guidebook for the deck the way this one is. And here you have, let's say, the Knight of Swords. You have your keywords. You have the description of the actual card, the artwork. You have the divinatory meaning and all that. But what really fascinated me about this book was before I got this book, my first impression of my Thoth deck was that when I looked at a card like Worry, I heard a question in my head, not a prediction that something bad's going to happen that makes me worry. It's it's almost like I hear this card, or I look at this image, and this card is telling me, you're worried. What are you worried about? What are you really worried about? I feel like these cards are asking me the questions. And that's really what made me fall in love with them. So, you want to get into Thoth and you don't know where to start? I recommend Gerd Ziegler's Tarot Mirror of the Soul. I've seen other books recommended, but this one is like really straightforward, a guidebook to this deck. Another one that I really, really like, and it's more like when, you know, if I want to delve into, and it's, I think I don't know enough to say for certain, but I kind of remember learning in passing from someone else's video that it's a little controversial with the Thoth community. But I really enjoy this book. I got mine secondhand, and you know, I gave it some TLC when I got it. So it's like nice and taped up with packing tape to hold it together. So I got this one also secondhand. And I find this one really, really interesting to read as well with respect to my Thoth deck. Like I said, I don't know enough to know for sure, but I remember learning in passing, watching other videos on Thoth, that apparently it's a little controversial with the Thoth people. What's in this book, and I'm not quite sure why. I don't know enough to even understand why properly. Probably is the word I was trying to pronounce. But I enjoy it, so I don't know. This one. So those are the 3 books I own on Thoth, plus the little book that came. This is the one that came in my greenie, and then of course the one that came with my, which would be interesting. Let's compare them. This came with my greenie, and this came with my US Games one. The greenie also, like it says on the back here, it says US Games. So, whatever. Alright. My last thought on Thoth is this. I wanted the greenie because green is probably my favorite color. I say probably because another favorite color is orange, and not too many things are orange. I don't have them in order. Regrettably, I don't have them in order, but I wonder if it's probably gonna make a difference with what I show you. So let me see if I could quickly find 2 cards to compare. So the greenie, it's called the greenie because, as you see in the margins, there's quite a green. It's almost, I think it was an error of green that got into the printing process. Also interesting, this is what I haven't seen anyone else show, is that there's quite a difference in my borders. Some of them are like really green, like this one. See that? Whereas others are a lot less pronounced green. So like these kind of imperfections, I love. Now let me find a card to show you the difference in coloration. So this is the greenie, and this is the current US Games one. So that looks quite nice. The greenie, I have a preference for the greenie. But overall, for most of the cards, if I were to be like really honest about like, well, what's better for learning and for being able to see the cards, the modern one. And let me show you a card that I just showed you in a past video. Oh my god, this is going to take forever for me to do. Alright, there's this one, and there's this one. So in a past video, most recent video, when I did the 22 majors, favorite majors, I showed you this for the sun. Because this is the image that popped in my head, and my greenie was on my desk. But to be honest, it was this image that I love. So you see what I mean? Like, so for learning, I prefer this deck because the colors are bolder, brighter, more true to the color they're supposed to be. Well, not that I know what the colors are supposed to be, because I wasn't there to see the original art. But this has a green wash over it, and it's muted. This is clear. So you see, where what is red here looks brownish in this card, because red and green make brown. So, and that's my last thought on Thoth. Oh no, I do have another one. Do have a last thought on Thoth. So yeah, so you see what I mean? Like, don't feel like, oh, all I have is this one. I really want this one. And let me tell you, this one is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. As far as I'm concerned, this is the example of when crazy people like me are chasing after the original. You know, the original article. The first edition. The older version. The classic version. The traditional version of something. This, to me, is an example of, the sought-after collector's item, whatever, blah, 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 original, blah, 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 bullshit, is not better. Where the current, widely available one is an outstanding copy. And that, like I said, that's my personal opinion. Your mileage may vary. You may feel like, oh no, I prefer the greenie. Well, the fact that I was able to source a greenie, like to find a greenie and have one like pretty much within a month of putting it out to the universe that I wanted one, like just, that, oh, I really do want one. And I didn't have to pay, I wouldn't have paid like an exorbitant amount for it. I paid, I think I paid that greenie what I would have paid an independent, like or the price range of an independently produced tarot deck. One more example for learning. I love the moon card. There's a whole story about the moon card, but you see what I mean? This one, the modern one, this is the only thing I hate about the back, is that white border. I like the borders around these cards, and I've toyed in the past with trimming it. If I came across another copy of this one, I would trim it, but I don't want to trim this one. Does that make sense? Yeah. Anyways, you see what I mean? Look at it. This one is clear, and you could see everything going on. Here, even the scarab is a little smudged to the point where you can't, if you don't know it's a scarab, you can't really tell. So yeah, so that's that. My last thought on Thoth. Super straightforward readings. Clear, concise readings. Accessible. Imagine that. I'm saying accessible about Thoth. I never hear anyone say that Thoth is accessible. This is a deck you could pick up, put some cards down and get a nice, clear answer to your question. For both mundane, divination, fortune telling, whatever the hell you want to call it, kind of readings, to pondering the deeper mysteries, the deeper spiritual mysteries. This deck is versatile. And again, the art style is probably what intimidates people. I think maybe the art style intimidates people. Maybe it's the reputation of the author, not the artist, but the author, that intimidates people. Maybe it's other people who read Thoth that intimidate people. You know what I mean? Like, it's it tends to be the chosen tarot deck for intellectuals. From what I've observed, intellectuals, academics, and I can see why, because it's comprehensive. You have symbolism, from Egyptian symbolism. You have astrology. You have Kabbalah. It's there's a little bit of everything for everybody in here, or rather, there's quite a bit of everything for everybody in here. But at the same time, you don't need, and this is the part, and this is my last thought on Thoth. Yeah, of course you get a little bit more out of it if you know astrology. You'll get a little, but the guidebook guides you and tells you what Mars and Aries means, or what you know what I mean, or that kind of stuff. Mars and Aries. That's combustion. It's sorry, I distracted myself. So the guidebook is Gerd Ziegler's guidebook. Tells you the meaning, explains really clear and concisely and in very accessible language, the planetary, the astrological, they're pips, but I think that if you're wanting to wanting to venture out into pip decks, I would recommend Thoth over a Rider-Waite-Smith pip deck. You know what I mean? Where it's Rider-Waite Major Arcana, and where it's very Rider-Waite-ish, and then suddenly they just slapped those pips in just because it looks like they were lazy. you know what I mean, right? Of course they weren't. Well, maybe they were. I don't know. But that's what it feels like. You're looking at this deck going, Jesus, you couldn't have drawn something here, right? Anyway, what I'm trying to say, and I don't think I did a good job at doing, but I'll try to summarize. If you have even a passing interest in Thoth, it's totally worth your time. And get yourself the large deck. Get yourself Gerd Ziegler's book, even just to start. Don't believe all the press about this deck being highfalutin and highly intellectual and all this stuff. Yeah, it is. It can be. It can be a highly intellectual deck, but it also is very accessible. All right, that's it for me. This is not sponsored. Aleister Crowley did not send me his deck, because that would be a whole other video if he did. I don't think he even, my understanding from the timeline, he didn't even get to see it produced. He died before long before the deck was produced. So anyway, I'm sidetracking now. Like I said, this wasn't sponsored. Everything featured in this video was purchased with my own money. Thank you so much for watching my video. If you have if you're a long-time reader of Thoth, please leave a comment. Tell me what you think, what your thoughts on Thoth are. If you are a content creator, I would love you to do a video, thoughts on Thoth. I might even make this a hashtag. Why not? And if you're even just thinking of venturing out into either pip decks or Thoth specifically, leave a comment below. I'd love to know your thoughts. And if you've just started learning Thoth, also leave a comment below. I'd love to know your thoughts. And for everyone, for all these questions and all these comments, if you want to create a video, awesome. I will include a hashtag and I will come watch your video. provided of course you know, tag it so I can find it. All right. I said I was going to let you go, and I'm still talking. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'm wishing you all a beautiful day. Bye-bye.